I've been reading through the Old Testament, and I just wanted to share something that I just read in Judges that I think is pretty relevant to today, and it just made me think of some words that Jesus had said in John. So I'll read that to you as well. But basically what's happened with where I'm at in Judges is Yahweh has brought the people into the promised land, and his instructions were to make sure they tear down the altars of all the false gods and things of the nations that were worshiping there, and obviously, to not follow after the nations. That's what he instructed them. But what they did, instead of just doing that, with some of the people, they decided to leave their altars up and leave their things, and then they actually started following after the ways of the nations, and they forgot about Yahweh's commandments. They forgot about following him. So they ended up losing God's favor, essentially, and they ended up being taken into slavery and things like that by these other nations. So if we go in Judges chapter 2, starting in verse 16, it says, "Nevertheless, Yahweh raised up judges who delivered them out of the hands of those who plundered them. Yet they would not listen to their judges, but they played the harlot with the other gods and bowed down to them. They turned quickly from the way in which their fathers walked, and obeying the commandments of Yahweh, they did not do so. And when Yahweh raised up judges for them, that Yahweh was with the judge and delivered them out of the hands of their enemies all the days of the judge. For Yahweh was moved to pity by the groaning because of those who oppressed them and harassed them. And it came to pass, when the judge was dead, that they reverted and behaved corruptly more than their fathers by following other gods to serve them and bow down to them. They did not cease from their own doing, nor from their stubborn ways. When the anger of Yahweh was hot against Israel, he said, because this nation has transgressed my covenant which I commanded their fathers, and has not heeded my voice, I will also no longer drive out before them the nations which Joshua left when he died, so that through them I may test Israel, whether they will keep the ways of Yahweh to walk in them as their fathers kept them or not." So he's saying that basically he's like, I'm going to leave these other nations that you guys haven't already taken over, and it's going to be a test to you. They're going to be here, and I'm going to test you to see if, even though you have all these nations, all these people around you that are worshiping other gods and that are doing things that seem right in their own eyes, I'm going to leave them there to test you to see if you will still follow me and follow my commandments. So that just made me think of what Jesus prayed for us in John 17. Starting in verse 15, he says, "I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. Sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth. As you've sent me into the world, I also have sent them into the world. And for their sakes I sanctify myself, that they also may be sanctified by the truth." He says his word is truth. His word is his ways. Everything that he says, his ways, his commandments, his Torah, his instructions for us. And that's what we're sanctified by. And I love that Paul reminds us of this in Romans 12:1-2. He says, "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God." So just remember, no matter how weird it looks, follow God's commandments, right? You're not going to look like the world. You're going to have to actually walk opposite of the world is looking. You're going to have to go this direction when everyone else is going this direction, and it's not always easy, but it's a test, right? All these people, all these nations are around us, all these people who don't serve God and don't walk after his ways. But we are called to be different, set apart. Holy literally means set apart, right? Set apart from the world. We're going to look different. So I just pray this blesses you, and I hope you have a great day.